So hello, everybody. Welcome once again for joining us. We are reaching to almost to 100 doctors from all over the world. I'm very excited to talk about composite veneers and DSDAPP today. It's a mind-changing, it's beautiful the fact that we can now use technology to help us in our dental office. Today, I have here Mark Pereira. He works here at DSDAPP. How are you, Mark?
Hey, Dr. Diogo, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, and welcome everybody to the How to Design Composite Veneers with the DSD app.
Thank you. And today we also have Javier. Javier, he also works with DSDAPP, and he will be showing you guys how you can export the 3D design and use it into a CAD/CAM software. We will give like a little overview. It's going to be very exciting. So stay with us. This webinar will be in about like an hour. Just a heads up, we are going to launch an online composite veneers course where you will learn the entire digital workflow from the beginning to the end, using the digital workflow DSDAPP. Today, you'll be learning more on how you can use this entire workflow, and we will be showing to you every single step of it.
Very cool. Very cool. This is really, it really is. This is really a true digital workflow that we're going to really be able to show the audience, even with Javier's knowledge. And he's really going to complete this cycle. So this is going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right, so just for those who still don't know what is the Digital Smile Design and what is the Digital Smile Design app, Mark, can you give us a little bit of?
Sure. Yeah, so DSDAPP, it was founded in 2017, and it was a brainchild of a Dr. Christian Coachman and our CEO and founder, Ralph George. And it's a smile design tool that offers you solutions to deliver facially driven harmonic smiles, very important, harmonic smiles. And with our DSDAPP technology, your dental knowledge, you have the power to change the way patients see dentistry by involving people with visual communication and bringing back the confidence in your patient. So this is a great tool that also helps you increase your treatment acceptance.
And just before we continue, guys, we have a chat here in the Zoom. So if you have any questions, we have Mark here, we have Javier, I'm here. So any questions that you guys may have, you can always write your comment or your question, and also just let us know where you are from. That would be great, so we can know more about you and know your specialty, so we can guide this webinar according to your wishes as well. Okay.
And Dr. Diogo, just a little bit about your background. You are a practicing clinician. You do have a practice in Brazil, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. My specialty, it's in oral surgery and prosthodontics. I've been graduated for 11 years. Oh my gosh, 11 years now. Oh. It's been a while. And the digital workflow really changed the way I manage my office and the way I see dentistry. Like now, the cool thing is that, dentistry became something that excites me, and excites my entire team. So just before we continue, guys, if you haven't downloaded the DSDAPP yet, you can go into your app store on your iPad and download the app. It's a DSDAPP by Coachman. And we will also have the iPhone version coming next month, right, Mark?
Oh man, that is just something that I think we dropped our email. We sent out our email list last week, and the response we have gotten from everybody throughout the world on when this iPhone app is going to drop has been incredible. The feedback we've gotten, everybody is like, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? So we are putting the finishing touches on it, but we do have a release of June. So, and it's going to be amazing app. So
awesome. So we have here a doctor from Bulgaria, doctor from Baghdad. We have Dr. Allah. He's asking if we have an online course. Yes, we do. So stay with us. You will get an overview of what you're going to get. It's a lot of content, but a lot of exciting content. And I'm very proud to be part of this webinar today.
Absolutely.
Just so you know, we are DSDAPP, like we have over 32,000 doctors from all over the world. So we are not a local company, we are a global company. We are available in 14 different languages. And in our company also, we have like doctors from all over employees from all over the world. So if you speak Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, German, we are here to support you and make sure that you deliver the best designs for your patients.
Yes, we have a team member that understands. In whatever language you speak, we do have a team member that understands it. And I think we need to update this, Diogo, because I think we're getting close to the 40,000.
We are.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
we're getting close to the 40,000, which is really exciting. Really, really proud to be part of this special company and special group of talented people that we work with. So.
Awesome. So let's dive into it, right? Today, we are going to be talking about why creating 3D dental design puts you in control of your composite veneer projects. What is the DSD methodology? And it's very important. And how you can create a 3D composite veneers guide using the DSDAPP. The way that I structured this webinar today was in a way that I think you guys will understand. Like, how is it to become a digital dentist from the beginning to the end when you deliver that to your patient? So when we talk about composite veneers, you guys, like we all know, like it's the most common technique that we do in our office, right? But sometimes it becomes time consuming when you do like 8, 10, 6 veneers, composite veneers. And sometimes, it depends on the hands of the operator. It depends on, your capability of creating those composites. So sometimes it's kind of like difficult to replicate every single unit. But on the other side, it's something that is very affordable to your patient. So I love doing the traditional composite veneers, but what I want to show you guys is another way of doing the composite veneers. So when we come to the digital composite veneers, we have the natural texture from the 3D design. And what does that mean? You guys will see here in the app that once you are selecting one of those natural shapes, 3D shapes that you have in the app, you also get the chance to already have all these anatomies from the buccal area already there. So all that you have to do is to get an index, to place it in the patient's mouth. And once you apply the composite, the buccal surface will already be ready for you. So all that you will have to do will be a polishing and finishing, which cuts a lot of this time. It makes it shorter. Me, usually when I use the entire digital workflow, the procedure itself about like 8 to 10 veneers, it takes about like 2 hours, which is not a lot, compared to like 8 to 10 veneers doing it manually into this analog traditional way. Another benefit of doing the digital composite veneers is that you can have the patient's collaborations in the project. And I will show you guys later how that works. But one of the greatest things is that you can have the patient to be a co-designer of their own smile. And that is something that engages the patient from the minute you start talking to them.
Absolutely. That's a huge part of the emotional dentistry, a huge key in it. And I love that. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. And you guys will also see that once you create a 3D design, the app will already generate an STL file that will allow you to create multiple units at the same time. So it cuts the time in half. All that you have to do is to understand the procedure and understand the technique. And of course, it is also an affordable alternative for your patient. We know that composites, it is not strong as a porcelain, but we also have to understand that some patients cannot afford to have porcelain veneers. And us as dentists, we have to provide service for all. And by creating this composite veneers and by engaging the patient from the beginning, you will change the mindset of that patient and you will make them understand that that's a transition from the composite to a porcelain veneers a few years ahead on time. So here, what do we have to consider before planning your digital composite veneers guide? This is something that is like, it's really important. And I created these 4 pillars for you guys to understand. The first thing you have to consider before planning a digital composite veneers is to understand your patient's need. And that's why I was saying before about, you know, having the patient to become a co-designer of your smile. So as soon as your patient comes in your office, you understand, you listen to your patient, but you also let this patient know that you have this amazing application that will allow you to design a smile that fits the facial structure of that patient, which will create a harmonic smile. Look how amazing is that. You start your communication, your engagement right on the first visit. And then of course, once you understand what the patient wants, once you knows exactly what he or she needs and desires, you then take this patient to the clinical room so you can take the complementary examination. So you digitalize your patient. You add all of these documents such as x-rays, intraoral scans, or other photos into the app as well. And that will help you organize yourself. It will help you create this digital patient in order for you to use it as a tool for your treatment plan. Then number 3 is understand the step of your treatment plan. That's what we call the DSD backward treatment plan. We believe that everything starts by analyzing the patient's facial structure. Once you know those parameters, then you can start to design your smile, because you want to create a relationship between facial compositions and dental compositions. And then, of course, once you gather all of those informations, then you start your 3D composite veneer guides. So if you guys are watching your computer, I would take a screenshot, take a picture. If you're watching on your iPad or iPhone, just take a picture of that, because that will be the base of our webinar today. And this is even if you are doing it on your own. If you understand those 4 pillars, you will understand on how you can become a digital dentist.
Really great information.
All right, so let's start with understand your patient's need. As I was saying before, the way that we start is by communicating with the patient. And there is nothing better than communicating with the patient and showing them what could be done. And the best thing is that you can have them become a co-designer of their own smile. So as you guys can see here, and this is in real time, you will be analyzing the facial structures, which we call the facial flow concept. And then you will go and set the smile frame. And in this smile frame, we have the science behind of it. We have the red proportions. We have the smile curve. We have the cervical line. So here, what you're doing, you are envisioning exactly what the patient is telling you. And look at that. You can have the patient to select one of these natural shapes we have from John Hatso or from DSD. So the patient can see, even before they start the treatment, how their smile could look like.
And this is
If
just,
you
I
if you
mean, whenever
touch in one
we
of
bring
those
this,
names, for example, you can also see who actually donated, which will give you the chance to analyze the facial structure of the donator and look at the facial structure of your patient to see if that will match. So there is another value on that. For example, in this patient, we selected Jacqueline. And here we decided to do 6 composite veneers. So I'm now deleting the ones that I'm not going to be using. And look, we have only 6 frames. And one of the greatest things is that it doesn't stop there. You can now customize that smile by touching these comments that you see here in the bottom. So if you want to make the teeth longer, shorter, rounder, more square, and as you're talking to your patient, you can customize that design. And this is the first step of understanding your patient's wishes. And as you guys can see here, we have now select the colors. So I'm just brightening up a little bit. And that is something that is very important when you are taking a frontal facial picture. Get good lighting and get the full face of the patient. And look, this is what you're gonna get. This was done like in 3 minutes. But even if you're doing it within 3 to 5 minutes, your patient will now understand how the final design could look like, how the potential smile could look like. So this is the first step. Understand your patient's need.
This is something that, I mean, in our experience, whenever we bring this out into a patient visit, and you end up coming out with the iPad and you're doing exactly what Dr. Diogo was just discussing, you see the patient's face light up. Like they see, you know, because they're exactly that. They're involved in their own smile design. And it's a huge, it just gives them a feeling of confidence. It gives them also a feeling of confidence that they chose the right dentist, because you, being in charge of their oral health, are in the top tier, using technology to show them. I mean, this is something that really we get amazing feedback when we speak to our dentists that are our clients and they're using this for the first time on their patients. The feedback is amazing. So
yeah, absolutely. I always tell all the doctors, whenever you see a patient, like to whom should I do this smile design? Like to everybody. Everybody that comes into your practice should know that there is a potential new smile that they could take, that they could have.
It should be done. I mean, the UPS guy comes in and he's going to drop off the package for you. I mean, you invite him in there and you tell him, and that's happened before. Believe it or not, we have had doctors that their UPS guy has come in and they've done that using the app and they loved it. And they go and they tell their wife, and then it's just a great form of advertisement as well.
That's great.
Which you'll explain later.
So the step 2. We have now what? The clinical and complementary examination. That's when you digitalize your patient. So I just want to go back in here so you guys can see how it works. So, you know, we take the full photo picture protocol of the patient. And as you guys can see, you can add the DSD pictures, intraoral pictures, you can add x-rays, you can add intraoral scans, and you can gather all those informations. And one of the greatest things is that you don't just have those patients for yourself, because you can export all of those documents into one file and share that with your dental technician or with other specialists that is also working with the project. And you can add your notes into it, which is great.
I mean, normally,
go ahead.
Normally what doctors are doing, right? And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of doctors in this room. What they have to do is they'll have to either go into Dropbox, look for the file, get it out of Dropbox, throw it in there, and then go to their server, log into their server, pull up the images. With this, with Dr. Diogo explaining, you can actually make this your point of reference. And so these files will live in here. They'll live in our cloud. Our cloud is some of the best in the world, our cloud technology. And it's also great for not only you, the clinician, but guess what? You have your staff. Your staff, your dental hygienist needs to pull something out. Your office manager is having an insurance claim and they're having an issue. And you can just go to the app, pull up the file, you can get it. And just like Dr. Diogo said, you just export it. It's as simple as that. And that's a huge win for the office.
That's great. So when you're doing a complementary examinations, of course, you are gathering all of this information to your patient, but you also need to do your clinical exam to see if this patient is allowed to do the composite veneers, or if we have to do any other treatment prior the composite veneers procedures. That's why we call it the backward treatment plan. You know what your patient wants. The patient knows what they want. But now we need to go and dig a little deeper to analyze what needs to be done in order to get that smile. So understanding the patient's facial structures, if there are any muscle changes or irregular jaw movements, understanding the lip position. So when you understand the lip position, you can check how many millimeters of the central incisors, for example, you're going to increase. Understanding the overjab, the overbite, get your guidance from like protrusion, your lateral guidances, buccal corridor, check the dental midline, facial midline, the quality of the gingival health, and any other important aspect that you find important in your workflow to understand if that patient is a great candidate for the composite veneers at this moment, or if we need to do other procedures prior the actual composite veneers. Then we have number 3. So we need to understand the steps of your treatment plan, right? That's the DSD backward treatment plan. So we have the indications for composite veneers, and we have the contraindications for composite veneers. So the indications, and those are like the easiest. That would be great if we could get like tons of patients like that. So patients with diastema, with bag laterals, patients with a class 4, patients who have like slightly malpositioned teeth, or patients who just need like a minimally invasive prep, or patients who just need a smile makeover, just like to change the harmony of their smile to look more, to combine it better with the facial structures of that patient, and patients who are also like looking for an affordable option. So those are the main indications. So when you have patients like that, you can start doing the composite veneers right after. Otherwise, you would first need to treat the patient and then start your composite veneers treatment. Because we know, once again, the composite is not as strong as porcelain. So we need to take that in consideration as well. Then we have the contraindications. Patients with bruxism or clenching, patients class 3 of angle, or with an extremely dark discoloration. So as we are planning on doing a minimally invasive preparation on that tooth, usually that's what I do. I like to first do a teeth whitening and then do the composite veneers. I do that mostly in all of my patients.
And what's the reason? What's the reason for that?
Because the layer of composite that we are placing on top of it, it's extremely thin. So since it's very thin, the enamel structure needs to be wider already. So that's why if the patient has an extremely dark discoloration, it would be a little bit harder. You could try to do an internal whitening, but I don't know if the success would be as satisfactory as it should. Okay. So if the patient has a moderate to severe malpositioning or crowding, you would also first, take this patient to do an ortho treatment And again, like by showing the emotional smile simulation, that first one, it will be better for the patient to visualize why they need to go through ortho first to then do the composite. And of course, if the patient has flare teeth, like extremely flare teeth, you would also need to do some ortho first and then do the composite veneers.
So it's great. It's a great way to really educate your patient and then be able to educate them and then show them all the possibilities, right?
Yeah, that's
correct. Really powerful.
All right, and then number 4. So you get your patient. So let's say you have a patient and your patient, he has aligned teeth, but he needs a smile makeover. So here we have the types of 3D designs that you can do in the app. So on the first step, we have what we call the ideal 3D design, which is the same thing as a prep guide. So let's say that your patient, he has aligned teeth or just like a little bit of misalignment, but the occlusal is good, the overjet is good, overbite is good. He doesn't need any augmentation or anything, or his gums are healthy. You're like ready to go. He just needs a smile makeover. In certain cases, your patient will need a minimally invasive prep. In other cases, your patient will not need any prep. For example, with peg laterals or patients with conoid teeth or short teeth or class 4, for example, you won't really need to prep those teeth like dramatically. But for example, in this case that you guys are seeing here on the screen, what you see there is these white teeth. Those are the composite veneers. That's where it's positioned. Mm-hmm. And then what you see that is going through that, it's like it's a green color. It's a green color. What you see that is going through that 3D design, it's where you will be prepping that tooth. So it's the excess of it.
Okay.
And if you look all the way to the bottom on that first screen still, you have that occlusal view. And if you look closer, there is a white line. This white line is the occlusal curve. That is something that you would be taking a note with the patient chair side. You would analyze the overjet and the overbite. You would analyze the non-working cusps to make sure that those were in an ideal position. Then you would set that new smile curve based on the curve that you're creating in the app, and you would place those 3D teeth over that smile curve. And that would create the new smile curve, the new curvature, the new buccal corridor of your design. Going from that prep guide, once you're done by doing that, you then can create your mock-up and you can create your composite veneer guide. So once you create a 3D design, you don't have to start a new project to do the mock-up, a new project to do the composite veneer guides. All that you have to do is to start by your prep guide, your ideal mock-up, and from there, you will be just making some adjustments and then sending it to print. And I will show you guys here how it works. But let me show you here an example. Some of our patients, they are sold already from the first moment you show them the smile simulation. You show them smile simulation, you talk to them, and they're like, yes, let's do it. But other patients, they are a little resistant. They want to do it, but they are not 100% sure. So what can you do? You can create the motivational mock-up. So you will be bringing, as I was showing you guys before on the previous screen, you would be taking that ideal mock-up, you would bring those 3D teeth a little bit outwards. So you would be covering the patient's existing teeth. You would print, create an index and a bisacral so you can do your motivational mock-up.
And that's when you go to your patient and you say, how would you Mr. Jones, how would you like to test drive your smile? And then they say, huh? How do I test drive my smile? Well, let me show you. And then you go into that motivational mock-up, and it's just a really great tool, to use when you're trying to achieve that positive treatment acceptance.
That's correct. And yeah, and that's something that we also call the motivational mock-up. In our course, in our online course, we will teach you guys how you can, emotionally connect this patient with the project, how you can create those emotional videos. I'm sure you guys have seen it on YouTube. Doctors from all over the world are doing that now, using the DSDApp as a tool, which is great. And that really changed the way that the patient sees dentistry, because they go like, wow, like I can, like, that's how I look. And that's like, my doctor is going that far to make me understand how powerful my smile could look, and how my confidence could change, right? By having this beautiful facially driven smile.
I know patients that have actually gotten the motivational smile, the motivational mock-up, and then had a wedding that same night and gone to the wedding with the motivational mock-up on. So it was like, they loved it that much, and they said, listen, I don't even want to take it off. I have a wedding tonight. I'm going to come back and say yes to treatment, and I want you to do it, but I have a wedding tonight. And I thought that was really, really funny.
Yeah, that's why it would be it would be a little bit hard for that patient to eat, right? And
I was going to say, as long as you don't eat steak, as long as you don't
as long as you don't eat at all,
steak,
because it's a motivational, it's physical. All right, so and then as you guys can see here, it's kind of like how it works. When you design your 3D mock-up in the app, and I will show you guys here how it works, but I just want to kind of like give an overview. So when you design your 3D mock-up in the ideal position, and then of course, we already spoke about that before, you have, prior to creating a 3D design, you have to analyze the patient's initial conditions and see if that patient is eligible for the composite veneers. You have to analyze the occlusion, you have to analyze the non-working cusp, the working cusps, the lateral protrusion, overbite, and see if that patient has a good indication for that case. So in this case, what we did, we placed the mock-up, the ideal mock-up, into the patient's mouth using bisacryl. Then we used a depth cutter, and we marked only the area where we would be prepping. So basically, we wanted to stay in the minimally invasive preparation because we wanted the prep to be in the enamel. In this case, for example, we didn't even do any anesthesia because everything was in the enamel, so it didn't cause him any sensibility or anything like that, which was great. And then after we prepped that, we did then the actual flowable composite veneer guides and placed the flowable composite in there in his mouth so we could finalize all those 10 composites. Okay. Let me show you guys here in the app. An example on how you can design yourself the composite veneers guide.
And on the app, all you need is one photo, correct, Dr. Diogo? Just this one frontal photo, and you can begin doing that smile design.
Yeah, for the motivational smile simulation, all you need, it's a one frontal facial picture. But if you are going to do, if you're going to use the app as an actual, as part of a treatment plan, and if you're gonna use it to print the guides and actually do the procedure using the facially driven designs, then we recommend you to use more documents from the patient, and I will show you guys here.
Okay.
So we have, the first step that you do is to analyze the patient's facial structure. So here, for example, what you see is that the patient's face here is not 100% symmetric. And if you notice, there is a white line right in the middle of that photo. And this line, it makes a slight curvature towards the patient's right side. And in the literature, it says that for you to take the facial, to get the facial midline of the patient, you should get a point in your glabella, middle of the nose, so in the tip of the nose, philtrum, and the middle of the chin. So once you draw a line there, you would be able to see that, that facial midline of the patient. Mm-hmm. And then that, with that being said, you can start to design your smiles based on the structure of the patient's face, based on where the flow of that patient is going to. So you can create a harmonic smile and not just those extremely perfect designs that we see out there. The next step that you have to do here is by calibrating an STL over that patient's face. And look how amazing is that? Because once you get the STL and the frontal facial picture, you have exactly the right measurements of those teeth, of that maxilla. So you would be calibrating that. You would be placing some information, giving some information to the app. For example, after you do your clinical exam, you get a measurement with a digital caliber, for example, of the width between 8 and 9, or between the distal of 11 to distal of 21. And then here, you would place it in the app, so the app will give you a suggestive smile frame for that patient according to the facial analysis of that patient. You would now calibrate also the occlusal view, and this is one of the most important part of your 3D design. This is where it will determine on to where the position of those teeth will be placed. That's why, again, when you are designing in the app, you need to already have all these informations of your patient prior designing it. That's why we have the backward treatment plan. And once you place all those teeth exactly at the place that you want to, you will confirm that with the lower STL as well. And we will show that in a few minutes. But here, for example, what I want to do, I want to make sure that my curvature follows the exact curvature that my premolars and molars are going. So if you notice here, if you look at this green line, I am now creating this very nice curve. And what does that mean? It means that the buccal cusp of the first premolar, the canine, the incisal edge of the canine and the laterals and centrals will be exactly at that position, okay? So now we have here our 2D smile simulation. Now with this smile frame. The smile frame that we use here is the red proportion concept. It is just like the golden proportion, but we use the red proportion as the red proportion give us more options in customizing these proportions, the teeth proportion. So the app will give you a suggestive smile frame. However, you can always make your own changes by moving this slider. You see here, we have a 9.4, but you can go to like 8.5 to 12.5 on the height. The proportions can go from 70% to 90%, but you can always make your own adjustments.
You're in full control. Yeah, absolutely. You're in full control of this, and you can customize it.
That's correct. So here we are selecting Jacqueline's design, it was the one that the patient approved on the first visit. And then to delete the ones that you don't want to use, you would select the tooth and then tap delete right here in the bottom. Then of course, you can make your own adjustments. For example, here, in order to to become more harmonic, we would have to do some sort of gingivoplasty into the gingival margins, for example. We would increase a little bit that lateral, that canine. You can always tap collar here in the bottom. That's not the final color, but it gives you an idea on how these teeth mounting is going, which is amazing. You'll be typing next. And then here is basically a Photoshop. So basically, you're marking the lip. And once you mark the lip, you are making sure that this smile, that the lip, I'm sorry, will be over that STL and over the new smile. So it gives that illusion that we have a new design into the patient's mouth. You will be making your adjustments into the color. And then you finalize. So here you have your 2D smile design. So now, remember that your 2D smile design is extremely important. Why? Because the 3D design is based on the 2D design. So make sure that you design your 2D smile simulation as planned. So that's why, if you want to take a little bit more time into like final details here and there, you can, because now this is not the motivation anymore. This is the actual 3D design that you will be planning for the actual procedure.
You want it as accurate as possible, right, Dr. Diogo?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And then once you design your 2D smile simulation, which is based on the facial structure of that patient, you will be coming to the 3D design, the 3D part of it. And everything is in the app. As you guys could see, it's like a step-by-step. And once you're done with that step, you click next, you go to the next step, and the next step. And that's how it is. On your first screen of the 3D design, you will have 4 different views. So you will have the, on the top left corner, you have a frontal view, which is the one that you already saw. On the top right, it's like a 12 o'clock view. On the bottom left is the occlusal view. Now with that occlusal curve, now it's in white, the one that we planned for that patient. And then the one on the bottom right corner is the one that you can move them around. Mm. If you tap color, this is to change the color of your STL. So basically it's just so you can have like a better vision of the 3D teeth because they have a white color. And then all that you have to do, I'm gonna zoom in here. All you have to do is to make sure that this 3D teeth is within the smile frame that you created in 2D. So we have these command buttons. And this is something that we will go over in detail in our online course. So here, I am placing this 3D teeth within that smile frame. And if I'm looking here at the occlusal view, notice that the incisal edges are following the line that I created. And what does that tell me? It tells me that according to my design, I will know if I will have to prep a little bit some teeth there, it's sticking out through the new design or not. So here, for example, I have this canine. This canine is a little bit outward. So I'm going to be giving a minimal prep, and I'm going to show you in another view, which is the one here in the bottom right. I will zoom in with my finger. And here you can see the existing design and a new design. So this case, for example, will be mostly additive, except for this canine. And you can analyze the intraproximal contact as well. So let me just bring this model off. See here? Oops. Okay. And this is something that you can do. So this is something that you will be in control of the project, which is amazing. And let's say if the patient, if you print it, you know, you have done all the procedure, and in the end of the day, the patient changed his or her mind. She doesn't want to have the central, the way that it looks right now. She wants a little longer, or etc. You don't have to restart the whole project from the beginning, or even better, you don't have to send it back to your dental lab. All that you have to do is to open your iPad and make your own changes.
Absolutely, which we all know how difficult that could be. The communication with the lab sometimes. I mean, we've heard, Diogo, you know, you could be a test to that, that like, you know, we've heard so many stories that sometimes the connection with the lab and it takes us a lot longer. So it's just like you said, you can just go right back, make the changes.
Yeah. I mean, there's most of the times we have like a great communication, a great relationship with our dental technicians. But you know, as they also have their own workflow, sometimes, you know, you ask them to, you know, just make a few changes, and sometimes it takes like 3 days, 4 days, you know. Right. And if you have a printer in your office, for example, that's even better, because you can make your adjustments, just print it, and you'll be having your new design like on the same day, which is great.
That's huge.
Or if you just need the lab to print, that will be the only thing that they will have to do. You know, they will not need to reopen the case and like restart the whole thing again. And the greatest thing is that you will always have all the patient's information here. You have all of those files, all of those pictures, all of those videos, all of these other documents. So you are ensuring yourself that you can change here or change it there or not. You will know, because you have this digital patient right here, right in your hands.
And I think that's what's great too. Yeah, even if you're not in the office, if you're away on vacation, if you're, you know, somewhere else, you can go ahead and pull it right up, and then you have access to all of it. And I think that's very valuable.
That's very valuable. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then to confirm that your 3D design look as the 2D design, once you finish your 3D design, we have this slider that superimpose the 2D design and 3D design. So if I just look here in my camera, if I use this slider from the bottom where you see 2D, you will see the patient's existing teeth.
Yeah.
And the smile simulation, right?
Correct.
Now I'm gonna go back. I'm going to touch now here on the top where you see 3D. Now you see the 2D smile design in her mouth, and I am now.
That's amazing.
What do I want to see here? I want to make sure that my 3D design looks just as planned, just the way that my patient wanted me to do. And this brings value to the ethical work. The patient will feel appreciate, you know, the fact that you're following what you guys planned before. And once you win your patient like that, your patient becomes your missionary. He starts to tell everybody about how amazing his or her doctor is.
Absolutely. And so then talk about, will you end up talking about how the patient can actually, how you can send this to the patient via email, via social media? You know, you can, and then they can become, just like you said, your own advertiser, because then they'll go and they'll show their friends and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's correct. So if you, so let's say, well, the patient is not 100% sure yet, or let's say you're designing everything, but before printing, you want to show it to the patient. You can just share these screens to your patient, to their emails, and that is something that the app also allows you to do.
That's amazing.
So you don't have to just bring the patient in and, just talk to them. You can just like send it to them, which is, time is money, and they also have their things to do. So if you're doing that for them, they will thank you for increasing that communication, that virtual communication as well.
So there's somebody asking right now, how can I send it via Instagram? So yeah, you can send it via Instagram.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
All that you have to do, it's not in this stage right here. It's when
correct.
You
right.
Or 3D Smile simulation. There is an option where you can either send it to your Instagram or send it straight to your patient's email.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, and then this is it. You guys can see here we have the ideal mockup. For the ideal mockup, it means that you have this, you'll be using this 3D design to use as a prep guide if needed. All right, if there is no prep guide needed, then you can use it to motivate your patient, and you can use it to help you with the veneers process. But this is one of them, right? So once I finish, I will save that. I will export this case. So I'll tap here, save case. So to export, the cases, I send it to the patient, the lab, or to your own email. Right. So once I send it that, then I can start my CAD CAM process. And that is something that Javier will be showing you guys. I just want to go back here to the slides. Here's another example on how you can do your composite veneer guides. So as I was showing you guys before, you can use more documents as well, such as 12 o'clock pictures, profile pictures, and so on and so forth. And for you to design your composite veneers, if you have to prep something, all that you have to do is to open the case that I just created, go straight to the end, and then you would be continuing in this scope tool. That's what we call it. And then in the scope tool, what will you do here? You will be now deleting, erasing this teeth that is going through that 3D design. Look at that.
Wow.
So basically, this is like after you prep on the patient's mouth, you will be now either preparing, or you can do that after you prep it.
What do you like to do? How does your workflow usually consist of? Doing this
first? It all depends. It depends on the case. Like in this case, since it's a simpler case,
right,
I just do all the designs all at once, so I can have it all ready for my patient, and then just do it all in one visit.
Right. Which is a huge benefit for the patient, right? I mean,
that's correct.
I'm sure they love hearing that.
And then here, you would tap Export STL. And it's simple as that. You export the STL to, if you don't have a printer, to your lab, or to yourself, or to another specialist. And then one of the greatest things is that the app will give you, I think it's,
I have them here with me.
Oh, you do? Okay, perfect. You guys will be able to see how those even and odd models will look like, and that will help you with the composite veneers procedures.
Probably gonna have to turn off my background.
And then once you're done with that, you save it on a cloud. So to make sure that your design is accurate, after you export your project from DSDApp, which was facially driven, you then send it to a mesh mixer, which is a free software. And that's something that we will also teach you in our online composite veneers, how you can create an articulator and digital articulator using mesh mixer, this free, amazing software. And Javier will be giving you a little bit of an overview of how it works.
So thank you. So what you see on screen right now is Mesh Mixer, right? You would be using Mesh Mixer with your STLs directly out of the app. You'd be actually able to put it onto an articulator. So you would be able to find your prepped models along with the bottom bite, and you would be able to check the occlusal on either one. We'd be covering this on our composite veneer course, so you'd be able to see exactly how your design fits in with the actual, with the practical, with what would be in the actual patient's mouth. Next, we would take what we, once we've cleared this and we know that it works, we'd be able to push on to the next step, which would be preparing it to actually print. So we want to take it from the digital to the physical.
And that is something that you will also be explaining and teaching us how you can export and then send it to print, right, Javier, in the course?
Yes, exactly. So what you see on screen right now is a program called 3D Sprint. It is for a printer called the Nextent 5100. You could actually see it behind me right now. It's right over here. It's an extremely fast printer. It is something we're testing in-house. And these models are directly out of the app, just placed inside of this, quickly set up so that we can print it as quickly as possible and as accurately as possible. Once you print them, these are the actual prints here in my hand right now. These prints are printed at 0.5 millimeters. These are smooth to the touch. These are perfect for injectables. You can, this is the full mock-up. As you can see, the design is right there. And if you look right under, you can see the original intraoral scan with the overlaid templates right on top. Now, straight from the app, you get this one. And as you can see, there's a second one there. It would be this one over here, which would be the odds and even for the flowable composite. So you would be able to do one of the sets of teeth. You would do, say, this tooth right here and this tooth over here. You'd prep them, you'd get them ready, and then you do the flowable, and then you do the opposite teeth. All of these models are exported straight from the app. They're all generated with just one program. We will cover how to use it, how to prep all the models for the Nextent, and we will also cover how to use it for other printers as well. We'll cover how to do it with a very popular printer, which is the Formlabs as well, how to be able to prepare it for that as well.
And this is like very interesting, because the way that we will be doing the composite technique, we will be teaching you guys how you can do the injectable composite veneers. Because I see like some doctors here asking like, oh, are we going to print the composites and so on? For the course itself, we'll be teaching you how you can do the injectable composite veneers technique. Of course, with Nextent, you can also print your composite, your
shells.
the shell, sorry, yes. But in the course, we will be teaching you guys how you can do the full composite veneers, which is much faster, I believe, technique than the traditional mock-ups.
In particular, the reason we're using this for our purposes for the course is because of the speed and accuracy that we get with it. Of course, not everybody can have this printer, so we're going to cater to everybody's needs.
That is true. So here you have an example of this patient. This is the final outcome, also done with full composite. We have, this is a case done by Dr. Ricardo Bertoldi. In this case, instead of doing the full composite, he used that palette index to create. So as you guys can see, you can mix traditional with digital. You can go fully digital. In this case, he used the digital, but then he ended up doing the composites, but based on the design that he created. Here we have, this is my case. And if you guys notice the grooves, in the anatomies, I didn't have to do a thing there. All that I had to do was to polish, do the finishing and polishing, but I didn't change any of the anatomy because the anatomy was already done in the app. It was already there.
Looks so natural.
Natural shapes. That's
wow.
Correct.
Looks
and
really
it
good.
looks, that's what we want to do. We want to make composites that look like real teeth.
Yeah.
Right? It looks harmonic. It looks beautiful. We have here another case, 10 composite veneers done with DSDApp.
Looks great. And so for those of you that are just joining us, just so everybody understands, what we're doing here today is this is an overview or a sneak peek into the course that Dr. Diogo, Javier, myself, we're all going to be a part of, which is the Composite Veneers course that we will be offering beginning, when does the class start? End of June, is it?
Yeah, it starts on June 29th.
So June 29th, our course begins. And what we wanted to bring you today is just a quick overview, just so you guys understand a little bit about what we're going to be bringing to you on how to design composite veneers using the DSD app, right? And so here are some of the things that we'll cover. So the principle of smile designs, 3D guides using the DSD app, how to digitalize your patient, what some Dr. Diogo spoke about, flowable composite technique theory, exporting your case to CAD/CAM software, how to treat your guide index, and the flowable composite technique. And we're going to give you an in-depth look into that, show you the full demonstration.
Yeah, that's a course where we want you to understand the entire workflow. We want you to understand the principles of digital smile design. How can I become a digital smile designer? How can I actually take that design and bring it to reality, and knowing that the patient actually knows how the procedure works, what the final outcome will look like. And by giving you that, one of the benefits is that you will be in control of the entire project. And this is like a nice slide where you can talk about more, Mark, but we will be giving you all the support. I will be the one who will be leading the course, but we also have 4 other dentists here in the company, and we will all be in touch with you to make sure that you can get your first patient using this entire protocol. Of course, you would have to select your patient, but we want to make sure that we can also help you to win the patient and make that transformation.
And obviously bring added revenue to your clinic. And I mean, that's a huge thing too. Like the added revenue that this brings to your practice is it's just it's an amazing amount that you will truly see the value of. And yeah, so there's two different things. So what we're doing is we're offering a special bundle pack for our non-members. And then we also have a bundle value for our members. Okay, so there's two different. So some of our participants this evening, or this evening, are members, and some of them are just being introduced to the app today. So what we want to do is, just so you understand, with this, what you're going to be able to get, you're going to get full access to the DSD app, iPad and iPhone. These are for the people that would become the members. Access to our exclusive app portal. You get the premium support. You get the feedback on your homework, right? So what's going to happen is we're going to have a back and forth dialogue with you after you submit your homework. We do live Q&A. Okay, so we'll answer all questions that you have. Anything that's going on. So we're almost going to be, you're almost going to be getting a very personalized course, right? Because we're going to be very, very much hands-on, and it's going to be Dr. Diogo. It's going to be a number of team members that are going to be there to help with any questions that you have throughout the whole step of the way. And you get the 5 cases to export, which is huge. Dr. Diogo, talk a little bit about the 5 cases, how that works.
So basically, you guys saw that I was exporting, right, these cases from the app. So when we say 5 cases, it doesn't mean that I can only export 5 files. It means that I can export files from 5 patients. So including in your package, you'll be using 1 case because that will be your homework, and that will be like your real patient where we will be helping you. But after that, you can use in 4 more patients, which is already included in your package. You get the full access of the DSD app. So just so you guys understand, you're not paying just for the course itself, which already brings lots of value. But after you finish your course, you still get all these benefits throughout the year. So you can continue with this digital workflow. And as you guys could see, it's very powerful. And for the cost itself, you get 1 patient, you already cover.
Oh, exactly. I was just about to say that. You get 1 patient, it's paid for. And for those of you interested and that do have an iPhone, it's really easy. You go ahead and you go to camera on your iPhone, and you point the camera at this code, this SQR code, and then it'll pop right up. You follow the instructions and you're signed on. It's a limited, the course is limited, guys. Oh, so please, if this is something that you are interested in doing, don't waste any time. Don't hesitate, because our emails have been blowing up. There's a lot of people that are interested that want to sign up. So, and the next one that the next one that we may have maybe a few months from now, it may be the start of quarter number 1. So please, if you can, take advantage of this now. Again, there's the member pricing, and then there's the non-member pricing. What I'd like you guys to do is, anybody that's really interested, you can reach out to me at mark@digitalsmiledesignApp.com, or just reach out to us on our social media platforms, or on our info@digitalsmiledesignApp.com. If you have any questions, I'll be reaching out to a lot of you. My team members will reach out to a lot of you who we do have your emails here. Anything else that we should talk about, Dr. Diogo, or is that?
No. I just want to thank you guys for being here today. And just remember, like, being a dentist is a blessing. We have studied a lot, like, throughout our lives. And becoming a digital dentist is something new. And we are here to make sure that you guys can also become digital dentists. And we want to make sure that you achieve your goal, your personal goal, your financial goals, and make sure that your office can be looked at as this amazing office where people have fun when they come to it.
That's a great point.
I want to give a special thanks to Adrienne, This is one of our partners. If you guys are interested in knowing more about this amazing 3D printer, just so you guys know, it prints models within 35 minutes. That's like mind blowing. So this is her phone number, her email. You can always go to her website as well. And again, I want to thank you. This is Mark's Mark's email. We have our website, and our website you learn a lot more about who we are and what we do. Please follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell all of your team members, all of your staff, that you are implementing this new digital workflow into your practice. Make them also subscribe and make them learn. We have it in 4 different languages, all of our content on YouTube. So make sure that you involve all of your people, because we want to make sure that we are also involved with you.
That's a great point, Doc. That's a great point. That DSDApp by Coachman is not just for you, the clinician, but it's also in which we have multiple cases, thousands of cases where it's, the doctors bring in their team members, they become empowered, they feel like they're a part of the team, they feel great about it, and they're doing the simple smile simulations. While you're with one patient, you have, your front desk girl doing a simple smile simulation. So again, Doc, that's a great point. It's not only for the clinician. This app really brings a lot of value for your team member, so that the doctor can go on vacation and they can have some people over here in the office. There's still processes in place. There's still a system in place to be able to take that patient on the journey, or take the patient on that experience, which, as you know, that's what it's all about. Patients want to be taken on that journey. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. We're going to leave the chat open for another 5 minutes. If you guys have any questions, we will be here.
Sure.
Thank you all once again. We had over 100 doctors today, which is fantastic. We want to make sure that you guys are taken care of. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Catherine. Appreciate everybody. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them here. Again, my email is right there. mark@digitalsmiledesignapp.com. Thank you, Rajesh. I appreciate that. Appreciate feedback. So we offer certificates when you take our online course. Our online webinars are mostly meant for an overview, or just sharing with you information on our future